Hello. After having done our introduction, we will take now sentence by sentence as usual of death. As a sentence 1, men fear death as children fear to go in the dark. And as that natural fear is increased with the tales, so is the other. Men fear death. Say, that undiscovered country from whose bourne no travel returns. Yesterday we had it. So fear death. See that? Just as children fear to go in the dark. So when there is when the lights go out, and darkness everywhere, the children will cry. Because they are afraid of darkness. That's the thing. And the interesting thing is that both are natural. Fearing death is natural. Going for children to go in the dark, that is also natural. And the whole thing is increased by, the fear is increased by tales connected with this, stories connected with this. So we say now in darkness to children, we will say there will be some strange figures, ghosts will come at night, you can see the eyes of the ghost, rest of the body you cannot see. Such kind of stories you tell. So they are afraid, giants will appear at night, some strange birds will make sounds and so on. So children, they are afraid of going in the dark. But men also, the stories about that somebody died and then he came back. Some people, in certain places you have that belief or that superstitious idea in your mind that a person who dies will appear in certain places, or the places where he used to sit and talk or he used to go, you will see that man there. This kind of stories, Therefore it increases. Or there is other stories like this. And if you are a sinful man, at the time of your death, devils will come and will take you away. You have the very good example there, Dr. Faustus, created by Marvel, the last moments of his death, he is crying and shouting. And then what happens is Mephistopheles and his friends come and take this man away. That's how the drama comes to an end. So if you hear such kind of stories, or you find a harmless father, Hamlet, King Hamlet appearing, see, and then they are going to meet Hamlet and his friends, Horatio and so on, they are going to meet and trying to talk to them. So such thing. Or you can see now about that Bango, the scene where that Macbeth is arranging a banquet for Bango, and then Bango's ghost comes and sits there. So these are stories related to death, and that causes fear. Understand? That is what he says. Certainly, the contemplation of death as the wages of sin and passage to another world is holy and religious. The second is that first one that we saw is what people say about it. And what is the belief? Superstitions, vanity, vain beliefs and superstitions connected with that. And second one he says, Bacon says, think of the religious and theological view. So the religion and theology tells us that first is a negative one, that is, death is the wages of sin. You have committed sin and therefore God acted. Before that there was not a, till Adam and Eve plucked, and so they did not pluck together, but they ate the fruit, the forbidden fruit. Then, till then there was no death. So death came to this world because of the original sin. Theologian says that that's called original sin or the first sin. Original means the first sin committed by our, that is Adam and Eve, our great grandfather and mother, and that's why death. So it's a wages of sin. Wages means as a result of sin and consequence of sin and passage to another world. So that is another belief in religion and theology, that you will go, either the Christian theology says either you go to heaven or hell, or there is a waiting place called purgatory. If you are not very sinful person, you can be purified. There is a place called purgatory, so there you will be kept. So it's a passage to another world. And that is holy and religious. But The fear of it, as a tribute due unto nature, is weak. A tribute due unto nature. Some people think that it's a tribute. So tribute here means the original meaning of tribute is that I am paying tribute to somebody. That means I am saying good words about him. But the fear of it as a tribute due unto nature. That is nature's gift service. That is a gift of nature, that is tribute due unto nature, is weak. Is weak means there is no logic in that. You cannot say that death is a tribute due unto nature. Because death is, for death, you should be thankful to nature. That kind of attitude. Because death is a gift given to living beings by nature. That is very weak, Bacon says. Yet, in religious meditations, there is sometimes mixture of vanity and of superstition. In religious meditations, religious people, stories, books written about by friars, books written by say maharshis or sannyasis. So here in this case, he is thinking about friars and monks. And those people, they have written stories about that, and those stories are, he says, so vanity and of superstition. Vanity, vain, useless, and also superstitious, not based on science or scientific thought. So anything that is superstitious is not based on science or scientific thought. For example, when you say that I saw a ghost there, there's no science, there's no proof that a ghost will come there after your death. Because one of the superstitions, or you can say, knowledge which has no base, scientific base, that is superstitions here. That means you shall read in some of friars' books of mortification that a man should think with himself what the pain is if he have but his fingers impressed, or torture. So in the books of friars you will find mortification means the suffering. This is a kind of suffering. You shall read in some of friars' books of mortification. Suffering inflicted on yourself by yourself. There are two kinds of suffering. One is somebody beats you. The other is you beat yourself. That is, you can see now some people in certain situations saying, mea culpa, mea maxima culpa. That is, my fault, my greatest fault. Or my sin, my greatest sin. Like that. So that is. So mortification means self. You are inflicting suffering on you. In good old days, friars used to beat themselves. Beat themselves. Or friars used to hit themselves. Or friars used to cut and wound their own body. So that is all mortification, inflicting pain. That is, they thought that, or they believed that is one way of atoning for your sins and purifying you. That's it. So it's about that, he says. You shall read in some of friars' books of mortification that a man should think with himself what the pain is if he have but his fingers impressed or tortured. Torture means inflicting pain, torturing, So think of like this. This part of your finger, you take a hammer and give a beating to this. You beat. What will be the terrible pain? Isn't it? Or you keep it in a hard surface and press it like this. Then there will be terrible pain. Because this is extremities of the body. Right. Extremities of the body, anywhere you touch, it will be very painful, no doubt. Any small, so even prick it with this, sometimes diabetic patients, they, for taking blood, they prick this part. So what a terrible pain it is. That's because it is extremity, see. And the friars, they taught like that, or they thought like that, or they spread such message. What is it? If you press hard or torture your the fingers and there will be terrible pain. And then they taught others like this. And thereby imagine what the pain of death are when the whole body is corrupted and dissolved. When that is. So that is how they taught. So if you touch the fingers and the terrible pain, then when the whole body undergoes this change, that is from life to death, that transition, what a terrible pain it would be. This is how the friars taught their followers. So if you touch it, just the small part of your body, a finger like this, you torture it, terrible pain. Then the whole body is tortured. What a terrible pain it will be, thought like that. But science tells something else. The science said when many times that passes with less pain than the torture of a limb. When you compare the pain that you are going to suffer at the time of death and the torturing of your limbs, that is your fingers and torturing of your fingers and gives more pain than death itself. Death will sometimes pass, no problem. Some people sleep better. Some people go to sleep, they don't get up in the morning at all. Nobody will know whether he is sleeping or he is dead. So you cannot compare both. He said that's what Bacon says. So when the whole body is corrupted and dissolved, that's what they told. Corrupted and dissolved means death, dying process. The process of death. When you are inflicting pain, fingers, and that is terrible pain. Then the whole body is getting undergoing the process of death. Then what will be the great pain? So they thought that something uncontrollable, beyond imagination. And so the friars will tell their followers, so meditate on this. And meditate on this, and then you cry, you do penance for your sins, because one day you are going to die. So those who have no scientific basis for that. Because Bacon says that then death passes. When many times death passes with less pain than the torture of a limb. That means fingers end here. For the most vital parts are not the quickest of sense. Why? The reason is given there. Vital parts like heart, then liver, then your kidney, your lungs, and these are the vital parts of your body. They are not sensitive as the extremities of the body. They are not as sensitive, quick of sense, as sensitive as the extremities of your body. So the pain inflicted on the extremities of your body will be far, far, far greater than the pain sometimes you feel from your heart or your lungs or your kidney or your liver, this and so on. Therefore, and the teaching of the friars is no scientific basis, and also probably just to create fear about death. So if you are a kind of a neurosis, a situation, a neurotic situation, and friars, they hammer it on you, saying that think of your last days, that you are going to die. If this is the pain here, the whole body will be undergoing terrible and excruciating pain. Therefore, don't commit sin. If you have committed any sin, what should you do? You should atone for that. You should fast. You should pray. You should cry. You should lament. All this. But the Bacon says there is no scientific proof for this, and that is true also. Because the pain that you feel in the extremities of the body is the same torture you apply to your, say, your shoulder or your leg, calf muscles. You are not going to feel that much. Sorry, it's a proven fact. No. Hope that you have been following and you are enjoying my classes. Yes. So fear of death. That's point one. Everybody fears. Common to all. like children, the fear of darkness is common to children. Secondly, he says, the theological and religious views that it is wages to sin, wages, death as the wages of sin, and also it passes to another world. And it can be three worlds according to Christian theology: heaven, hell, or in between you have got the purgatory. Then he says, religious meditations are sometimes mixture of vanity and of superstition. And then he gives this example, what the friars book say. Extremities of the body, and they have the same pain, the same, if you apply same torture to the extremities of the body and also some other part of your body, the torture that you are applying on the extremities of your body will be far, far greater. The pain that you are suffering as a result of the torture will be far, far, far greater than pain that you are going to suffer because you are torturing some other part of the body, say your heart or lungs or whatever, or muscles or something. Understand? I think it is clear to you. It's a very good idea, no? It's a very good topic for meditation. Meditation means that is, it's good, no? Sometimes to think of how we are going to die, how other people face death. Like Augustus Caesar, he said goodbye to his wife. And said, think of those beautiful days that we spent together, our married life and so on. That is simple thing. Caesar, what is there? Cowards die many times, valiant dies only once. That is, people who fear death, they die almost every day. Otherwise, the courageous man is let death come. And I told you yesterday, John Donne said, death be not proud. Who are we? We are just like a sleep. Okay, so these things I have already told you. I think that you are enjoying my class. You must use this time for your studies. And before that, put out the killer virus, shut out all its parts, put up a tough fight and flush out the killer. So I think that you will keep this in your mind and together we will fight it out, and soon we will see the result. So all the work done by the great health workers, the doctors, nurses, ASHA workers, helpers, and the forces for the policemen. So we should all be grateful and thankful to them. When you are praying, if you are in the habit of praying, you should always remember them. And in the meanwhile, don't waste your time, but study. Use this time for academic purposes. Bye. Have a nice time. Enjoy your life.